Hello, friends. Uncle Marv here with another episode of the IT Business Podcast, the show for IT professionals and managed service providers, where we help you run your business better, smarter, and faster. And one of the ways that we do that, folks, is participate with organizations like IT Nation and help them promote up-and-coming vendors in the space. And so we are doing that once again this year in the 2025 Pitch It competition. We are coming down to the wire. The contestants are nearing the end of their boot camp. They will be doing their pitches to see which three will be on stage in Orlando this November at IT Nation Connect. And joining me today is a returner from last year, ComplianceAide, the revolutionary AI-powered platform designed to simplify and accelerate regulatory compliance. And to help me talk about that, once again, Mark Heather is joining the show. Mark, how are you?
I'm great, thanks. Looking forward to the next 30 minutes, I guess.
All right. For those that don't know, you are the, is it officially the European Channel Director? Is that your official title?
Yes, I am, but I'm also co-founder along with Randy Blasik. Randy's on the technical side and I'm on the business side. And as you can probably tell, I'm UK-based and Randy's US-based. So a bit of a time difference every now and then, but it serves the purpose.
But you got both sides of the pond covered, and that's what matters, right?
Exactly, yeah.
All right. So for those that don't know, I just briefly mentioned you're an AI-powered platform designed to simplify regulatory compliance, but mainly, I guess the very first thing to talk about, it's supposed to simplify and streamline the process, saving people. And I've seen reports up to 90% in time.
Absolutely. The way that we operate, our not only is our product AI driven and based, but so is the company. So what we've built is we've built agents to do a lot of the work that some of the humans would do. But the way that we've built the product is that the big time consuming thing with auditing is the collection of data, which is sort of bracketed as evidence, and then the time to understand what that evidence is telling you with respect to the questions in a cybersecurity framework. So if you're looking at NIST, you've got 100 and something questions. You've got a pile of documents that you have to read and understand. And then you look at question one, and then you go through the documents and you say, how does this evidence answer question one? Now that can take weeks to do, because from that you produce a gap analysis, you produce a next set of works, you produce a security rating. We can do all of that. Plus, you need to produce all your security policies. We can do all of that in somewhere around 3 hours. So it's a big, heavy lifting exercise that we take away from people, which is the bit nobody likes doing. You know, it is time consuming, it's brain consuming, and you fatigue from it. Which obviously, using AI, you don't get those concerns.
All right. Let me first ask, I'm going to ask two parts. You talked about the frameworks and stuff, and I think from what I can tell, you guys have added a bunch of frameworks since last year. So you mentioned NIST. What other frameworks are you guys working with? Okay,
we cover over 350 frameworks now. So it's quite difficult to find a framework we don't cover. Absolutely. And part of that is because of the way that AI has developed. It's able to do more things quicker than it was before. Like a year ago, there would be a restriction, for example, on the amount of data you could ingest. We've cracked that problem and we don't have those context limits anymore. And as I say, being able to answer multiple frameworks simultaneously, as well as have different types of information. Not only do we have, say, in excess of 350 frameworks, but we also have now more than 10 file extensions. So you can upload documents of different types, whether they're PDFs, whether they're Word documents, or pictures. I mean, we actually have one took us by surprise. Inside a document that we uploaded, it was somebody's report, was a photograph of a data cabinet. And, it showed obviously a piece of hardware inside the data cabinet with cables going to and from it. The AI agent was able to identify who the manufacturer of that hardware was, the fact that it was a router, and in the picture there was a management console, and it actually discovered exactly what the Lenovo PC was that was running that management software. So it's sort of quite a powerful tool now.
Okay. So obviously big changes that you've done since last year, adding all of the different frameworks, adding these different file types, being able to identify stuff from pictures. Go ahead and tell me, what else have you done since last year? Because it seems like you've been quite busy. Sure.
The whole interface has changed. If you log on to ComplianceAide now, the website's still the same, but the actual platform now looks like GPT. So it's a familiar looking platform, and you act and you interact with it as you would do with, say, Copilot or something like that. Additional things that we've added to the capability, as well as the 350 frameworks, is I basically split it in my head as to two parts. We have the compliance side of things now, which is, as I say, all those frameworks, for which, as you know, we produce the gap analysis, et cetera, et cetera. We've also got dashboards. Now, the dashboards themselves, it's basically down to your imagination as to what it produces. So you can, for example, do an assessment. You'll get a number of failed controls or partially compliant controls. You can ask the platform, and you talk to it like you would a human auditor. So you type in English or whatever your language happens to be, because we're multilingual. Produce for me a risk assessment in financial terms as to what this assessment is now showing me. And it will produce a report which will tell you that your financial risk is X number, $1,000 or millions of dollars, and it will break that down into certain areas, whether that's potential ransomware, potential misuse, whatever it happens to be. It will give you that whole financial breakdown, which means that for your, say, your monthly meetings or your quarterly meetings with the C-suite people, you can literally, on demand, walk up to your terminal or whatever it is you're using and say, give me a report which will be reflected for a CEO. And it will give you, if you like, a general overview. You can then ask for a CTO report, and it will give you those financial risks. So a CTO will give you the an overview. It will say, there are 110 controls. You've got 20 that are at this status, 10 at this status, and 5 at this status. This is the order you need to address them. You can give the CTO the financial report, the CFO the financial report. So you can literally produce any report that you want. We actually do one as well on the platform where we look at, it's a quick one. It's only 12 questions, but it gives you an understanding of where you would align for cybersecurity insurance. And we're using a questionnaire from a well-known insurance company. So you can quickly get a status of those 12 questions and give you an idea of where you stand from an insurance compliance perspective. So we've added that capability. What else have we done? We have there are now 3 ways to ingest data. The first way I mentioned, which is just to have the documents and upload the documents one at a time. The second way is to integrate with people like ConnectWise. We can integrate into their SAO system, which means that from a gathering of the information perspective, we've reduced the time again, because there's a hidden cost in this which people tend to miss, because when they say they're saving time, they're tending to look at the auditor's time. So an auditor will charge you X number of dollars per day. What's missing is the other half of the equation, which is the client has effectively got some sort of project team working on this. So you're gathering information from heads of departments because we are now integrating directly into those clients, or have the ability to directly integrate into those clients' platforms, they're not now wasting their time turning up to management meetings where all they're doing is, the HR department's handing over documents from HR, networking teams doing the same from networking. We can plug directly and get that evidence straight away. So there's, somewhere in the region of an average team of around a $50,000 saving just in the 2 hours a week or a day a week that they're spending trying to project manage this thing.
Right. Now, real quick, I know you mentioned ConnectWise, but I should note that I see that you had added some other integrations with Acronis, Enable, some others and stuff. So you've added the ability to go into multiple tools.
Yes, we have. And the final area is the PSA integration. So we can raise it as well. So if you've got your remediation requirements, you can put that into a ticketing system. It will fill it out completely for you. And you can obviously address that to whoever in the ticketing system is responsible for that particular requirement. So hopefully we've got the whole loop closed.
Yeah, that is a lot. So now everything sounds great, and you guys have added a whole bunch of stuff. Now, of course, the things people are going to ask from last year is, what still makes you stand apart? Because more and more compliance tools have come on the market and stuff. So what is making ComplianceAide stand out besides the fact that, you've mentioned all of the integrations with the frameworks? I think, first of all, that stands out to me. But what else makes you guys stand out?
The primary function, and it will change, is we are AI. And that makes us a lot more flexible and a lot more agile. So that's the big thing that stands up for us. And every report that we produce, whether it's the management reports, whether it's the security policies, whether it's the general outputs, are specific to the client. So we are not templated. When we look at our competitors, and I'll call them traditional competitors, because I think I've only seen one similar platform to us in the AI space. They are templates. So you can download their access control policy. You can download, and everybody gets the same policy. With us, the policy is specific to the client. So if within the evidence something is, it said Uncle Marv is the CISO, if the question on the framework is asking things, and it will actually cite that Uncle Marv is the CISO, whereas other people's won't. It's just a standard template. So that makes us different to other people, and obviously, once again, the speed with which we do things. So, for example, to onboard ComplianceAide, you do it in 15 minutes, and that's a stretch because effectively all you need to do is, if you have the ability to upload a document and push go, that's the end of your training, because the AI takes over and does the rest. It produces the reports. You download the reports. You download everything you need. So, compared to other systems where you have to learn how they actually operate, within 15 minutes, you're doing audits. So, that's a big difference for us.
Right. You mentioned the ability to do that gap analysis. Now, when you're talking about whichever way you ingest the information, whether it's your RMM, PSA, the documents and stuff, before the reports are generated, are you able to identify upfront, say somebody has not identified a security officer in their firm? Because if we're the MSP and we're going in asking for their documentation, we're not checking it. Let's be honest. We're going to upload it. So will the platform come back and say, hey, you haven't identified a security officer?
Absolutely. To be fair, it depends on the question that the framework is asking.
Gotcha. Okay. Yes.
So, and a lot of these frameworks now with us, what you'll get is something which will be, say, it'll be partially compliant. And for a lot of questions, the reason for that is it will say, for example, you hold regular meetings. The question might be about governance or something like that. You hold regular meetings on a Tuesday. That's great. You're partially compliant because you hold the meetings. But you haven't uploaded any evidence, like you haven't named who the people are who are responsible for those meetings. You haven't uploaded any minutes from the meetings. So it's not been evidenced. So you won't get full compliance until it's been evidenced. And also, which you can do if you don't know how to get fully compliant, you can literally take the question where it says you've failed this, or you're only partially compliant because you take that question, drop it onto the platform and say, how do I remediate this? And it'll give you the full answer. So you're working with a platform that identifies the problem and gives you the answer.
Nice. Now, I know that, you've already talked about a ton of stuff that you made changes to and added. How much of this came out of feedback from MSPs that you've talked with over the year?
Just about all of it, to be honest. When I look back at our very first iteration of ComplianceAide, it's strange because it's still better than a human auditor. But the process and the psychology behind it was that you literally on the platform physically answered every single question. So you sat there and typed. So it might take you, 4 hours, 5 hours a day to actually type everything in, but you would be sat in front of somebody, and that just feels like a waste of time. So we then moved to being able to work out how to upload documents, which was innovative for us because AI was restricting what you can do, and using the agents that we built, because we're not a single shot agent, we're a multi-agent system. We managed to crack the ability to upload documents and the number of documents that you could upload. So that was, from feedback. And then that sort of naturally led on to, can we integrate, or can we look at integration? And, some of the policy descriptions and things come from feedback, basically. And certainly the whole dashboard thing is pure feedback from clients. Because we sort of like got a problem of, we haven't restricted the dashboards. The restriction is how you want to describe, do you want it, how you want your dashboard. Because that's the way that AI is. AI, you've got to look at it as being, you don't really come from it as trying to police it from day one. You just let it do what it wants to do, then try and restrict it, rather than restrict it from day one, because you'll choke what its capabilities are.
Okay. Now, on the opposite side of that, how do you deal with MSPs that, I just want it to be done for me. I'll take the stuff and upload it, but I don't want to deal with it. Can you guys kind of do that as a service sort of a thing? Or is that a myth that we need to debunk, that MSPs, can't be a part of the process?
Well, MSP can absolutely be part of the process. And the reason for that is from the way that the platform works, like I say, from a expertise perspective, the only expertise you need is once all the reports are done, you then need somebody, and it could be just the network guy, somebody who knows the client, because AI will try to answer every question and every subcategory in a framework. So it doesn't know the client. It doesn't know whether it's talking to a multinational or a two-man, nut and bolt company that makes nuts and bolts for the military, and therefore it's got to adhere to something. So what you need is, once it's produced everything, you just need someone to look over your non-compliant and partially compliant and say, this isn't actually relevant to this client. So it's sort of part of the scoping, but the scoping's done almost sort of retrospectively. And it's what we call the human in the loop, because you still want someone to put a sanity check against it. And like I say, from an MSP's perspective, there's no additional headcount required in order to do that. It's really someone who understands the client and knows their business.
Right. Now, I saw something about, so my was going to wrap up here, but I have another question, because I saw something about M&A risk assessments, which normally we don't do. It looks like you have that as part of the platform as well.
Yeah, I mean, we could basically do anything where you're looking at risk or third-party risk management, stuff like that. It is so long as pretty much that there's a framework for it and there is for things like third-party risk and due diligence and things like that, then it automatically uploads to the platform when we ask for it. Even if we don't have it in the 350, there's a good chance that just by uploading the evidence and asking and knowing the questions that you want to ask, just asking the platform to interrogate the evidence and answer your question, you'll get what you need from it.
All right. So let me ask the last question this way and see if I can properly state it. Does this mean that we as an MSP can do a third-party assessment for another MSP, or does ComplianceAide do a third-party assessment for the other MSP?
Well, both, to be honest. I mean, if you want to do it, you can do it, and it does. To me, it enables the MSP to add the service. They're adding the service, and for a lot of the time, it's good for them to understand what the situation is with the client they're about to onboard. And I know that a majority of MSPs, when they sign up a client, will ask for certain documents. They can use those documents to do an audit against them. And that gives them an idea of the profile or the risk profile that they're taking on with that client. So the output will highlight stuff which they have missing from their security requirements that the MSP can then sell to them. Yeah. Or if they don't offer that service, let's say an MSP doesn't offer multi-factor authentication, if they keep getting that requirement because their clients are continuously failing that they don't have MFA, then the MSP can say, well, actually, I need to add this additional service as well. So there's additional upsell revenue for them here.
Okay. All right. Well, Mark, thank you very much. And as per usual of the other guests, I want to give some time for you at the end here to practice that pitch, maybe for the very first time that you'll be doing shortly to get you on the stage in Orlando. So let me step back and you take it away.
Okay. Let me give me a second. I just want to make sure I've got everything lined up here for myself. Well, ComplianceAide, what we basically are is what we're saying is, if you want to deliver cybersecurity compliance audits in 24 hours, cut audit labor by 85% and drive business outcomes with a faster time for things like insurance, get higher margins, have service desk automation, all without hiring a single person, then with the integration of ComplianceAide into your platforms, you can do this. The pain problems that you're getting are we're not compliance experts, it takes too long, and it doesn't scale. You know that manual remediation processes slow response times down. And, we wind up with gaps that are unsolved due to lack of service desk integration, etc. So even with an MSP identifies compliance gaps, they tend to hit a wall when it comes to remediation at scale because they don't have the expertise. The solution is ComplianceAide. We're an agentic generative AI platform. We're multilingual as well as multimodal. So multimodal means we take in things like screenshots and different file formats. We're a 10-minute onboarding. Literally, anyone in your team can operate the platform. And the service integration with remediation automatically does the ticket generation for you. What we've seen in practice is that it takes about 16. We've got one client that we know. We've got 16 hours to audit, which is down from the 220 hours they were spending auditing. A cost saving per audit of nearly $10,000 and no additional staff. So basically, why is it now? Because it meets the compliance needs before your clients ask for it. Things like cyber insurance is pushing this hard now. You can deliver instant value with audit readiness documentation, and you can turn compliance into a repeatable automatic service line. So in summary, compliance audits are done in effectively 24 hours. That gives everybody a bit of leeway. There's no additional headcount. An MSP can save around $10,000 per audit, reducing audit time by 85%. We automate gap remediation into PSA systems, and it aligns to key business outcomes such as speed, compliance, high margin, and automation. That's primarily it, really, from us, guys.
All right, Mark, thank you very much. And for those of you checking the show notes, the website is thecomplianceaide.com. Head over there and check them out. Slash that preparation time, deliver board-ready outputs within hours, and support over 300 frameworks. And Mark, wish you luck, and we'll see you in Orlando for IT Nation Connect.
Thank you very much.
All right, folks, that's going to do it. We'll be back with one more vendor from the IT Nation Pitch It. We'll see you soon. And until next time, holla.